It's been 5 months. This is our dream come true. 2 to 3 times a week. Are we really here? It's still where we want to be.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Dan and Leslie here for another video about moving to Orlando. It has been 3 months since our last update about what it's like living next to Disney World.
Hey everybody. So we have actually been here for 5 months now. Can you believe it? It is crazy.
I know, it felt like just the other day we were doing a 2-month update, so
I feel like we were just packing a truck.
The kids have finished an entire semester. Done. It is summer officially in the house.
I love summer.
We packed up the day after Christmas in 2021, and now here we are, and oh my gosh.
Crazy.
It's crazy. Okay, so we're gonna tackle quite a few different categories on updates, some things that we've touched on in the past, and we're going to clarify some of the changes and some of the things that we've had successes with and some of the things that were a little more challenging. Before we get there, if you would like help planning your next magical vacation,
please reach out to us over at Dan and Leslie at addictedtothemouse.com or look over at Fantastical Vacations and you can fill out a quote request over there. So if you haven't followed along on our crazy journey, the whole reason that we moved here was because we launched our own travel agency and we wanted to be closer to the magic, next to Disney, next to Universal, and work on that here. So if you would like to support us in that way, please reach out.
First, we're gonna talk about getting set up in our daily lives here. So, what do you think?
I absolutely love it. We have gotten our little routine down with what we do every single day. It might start looking a little different. We might have to be a little more on top of getting up out of bed.
Oh, because the kids are out of school.
Because we don't have to take anyone to school anymore for the next few months.
That's fair. That's fair. So our alarm clock went off so we could take kids to school, and now we're going to have to just get up on our own. This is our official office, the studio.
It's true.
And then getting the work-life balance down. So this is a big thing, and this is not necessarily going to apply for everyone moving to be next to Disney, but if you have the fortune of working remotely or owning your own business, working out of the house, even if you are moving down to do another W-2 job, figure out the work-life balance. It is very, very possible to spend a ton of time with your family here, but I think those two things can very much get at opposing ends there. And so we've worked for the last 5 months on figuring that out. It helps that we have created this business to revolve around Disney, and that is one thing that our kids love to do. So we incorporate them into that work-life balance quite a bit. And then it is nicer now doing just the travel agency, doing Fantastical Vacations, because before we moved, we were doing W-2 jobs plus trying to start the travel agency, which was a lot and that took away from family time.
Yeah.
So I'd say a big focus here has been getting more family time, which is conducive to the environment because in the winter, it is nice outside. We spend time together on the back porch. We eat together now, like every meal, every dinner, we are eating together, either inside or on the back porch, and
I'm sure that's kind of normal for a lot of people, but it really wasn't for us back in Oklahoma. Like that wasn't like dinner at the table. Our table was used as kind of like a dropping point for many things. And now we actually sit at the table a lot of times, or we'll sit out on the back patio and talk.
Focusing a little bit deeper into work-life balance, something that we really haven't talked upon too much is just daily life outside of earning a living. One thing that we didn't really think about coming down was finding the service providers and healthcare providers that we would need being here. And so that's been a little bit stressful. So here's an example. I broke a tooth yesterday. I had to find a dentist quickly. I called the local dentist, the closest dentist that took our insurance. I went there and I spent probably 95% of my time fending off the sales pitch for the Invisalign that they wanted to sell me. So we've needed plumbers, electricians, doctors, like finding all of that has been a little bit challenging, but it's a work in progress.
Yeah. I mean, and it's just part of figuring that out, right? Another example of that is whenever we go on vacation or go out of town, finding somebody to take care of our animals whenever we're gone. Fortunately, here in Orlando, there are tons of organizations that will come to your house for a fee and take care of your animals, so you don't have to board them, you don't have to stress them out by taking them somewhere else. At least it always stressed our animals out by taking them to a boarding place. So that part has been a little challenging, but we're finding our way. And fortunately, we have made some great friends, and so we can reach out and ask for recommendations.
So the next topic we want to talk about is how the kids have adjusted. A lot of people have asked how the kids are doing. They are doing great. They just finished their first semester in the Windermere, well, I guess the Orange County public school system, but they go to Windermere schools. And I think they have fit in quite well. It was a little bit challenging. I think the biggest challenge for them was trying to figure out where they were in their grades curriculum, because fall semester was back in Oklahoma, spring semester is here in Florida, and they weren't necessarily on the same page. So like where the math curriculum was, Aiden couldn't pick it up right there. There was a kind of a gap there. And so that was a little bit challenging. So it probably would have been easier schoolwork wise to get them started at the beginning of the school year in August. But I think socially it was better to start in the middle of the year.
Yeah, and all in all, they ended the year well, and they have friends, and so I think it all ended fine.
Going into summer strong.
But I think that next year will be even better because they will start off the school year with everyone else at the same time.
Next question that we get, and I'm not sure where Thea is, she is hiding right now, but is how the animals have adjusted, and they have adjusted very well. Tappy Tapperson, or Dexter, our big Great Dane, is right behind the camera over there, just conked out on the tile. I think the tile is cooler for him to lay on, so he's laying on the tile more than he was in the cooler months. And then Thea loves it here. She loves chasing the lizards around the cage, around the pool out back. She has a great time. Yeah,
and Dexter even probably spends more time outside than he ever has before. Not for us, lack of trying back in Oklahoma, but he just doesn't really like to be outside. So but he really enjoys taking walks. I hesitate saying that too loud because he knows what that word means. And he enjoys just hanging out on the back patio with us whenever we're working.
Okay, next thing we're going to talk about is the theme parks. And so this is a really interesting one to talk about how exactly our relationship with the theme parks has changed.
You know, it's funny. It's like I love the theme parks even more, but I love them for different reasons now. Like my goal of going and my goal of experiencing the theme parks is different than it was before whenever we were traveling.
I think when we would come down and we'd travel and we'd spend a week here, the goal was to do all the rides and eat all the food and experience all the stuff that you wanted to experience, like that stuff. And now it's more just like soaking up the vibe, soaking up the atmosphere. We can, even with Park Pass reservations, we can pop into theme parks and pop out.
I love that.
That is amazing. In fact, we are about to leave to go take Jennings and Aiden, because school is now over. As a little celebration, we're gonna go spend a few hours in Animal Kingdom this evening. I think we just like soaking up the ambiance, the vibes, people watching, just listening to that Disney music and seeing the streetmosphere and all of that. That's what we love, kind of that energy. It's not necessarily getting to do every ride every single time we go.
Eating out, that's another thing that people will ask us is, you know, how often we're eating out, and because everyone knows we love food. So we do the dining reviews. If you haven't checked those out, definitely look at those. And so that's mostly Dan and I. Sometimes the kids will pop in and join us, but for the most part, so we have been eating out probably once a week or so with those dining reviews. But outside of that, like whenever we go into the parks, we really have been able to experience park food and drinks and stuff like that, but not overdo it as much as we did before.
Normally, in any sort of vacation mode, we would spend a ton of money trying to experience everything. And now, like, we went to do Guardians of the Galaxy preview the other day. We didn't spend anything. We didn't get anything there. Sometimes, like, when we go, we'll like get maybe a drink, maybe a snack, something like that, and try to, because again, it's not only the budgeting. We don't have an unlimited supply of money. We have to worry about that now, but we also have to worry about the calories, because they do count here when you're not on vacation. Next question that we have gotten, and one that we'd like to talk about, is about making friends. I feel like it is a lot easier here to make friends than where we are from. Yeah. Not only because there is more of a transient population here, people moving in, people moving out. There's a lot of people coming and going, and I think that makes people a little more willing to be open and meet people and talk to people because there is that flux of people. But also, I think that people have a story to tell coming from different parts of the world.
Yeah, because so many people who move here actually move here because of the theme parks, whether it's that they're working with Disney or Universal, or that they just love it like we did, or Florida just felt like home. Like we have so many of you that have reached out and have said that you're planning on moving because of the same things, the same reasons that we moved, whatever it might be. And so all of those people, we all like to tell our story as to why we got here, right? So it kind of is a perfect way to start those friendships. The next thing is how our relationships with friends and family back home have evolved. And, I think that it's pretty much like we expected it to be, that, we FaceTime some, we talk on the phone, people come and visit. So we've definitely stayed in touch, and we still get to communicate and maintain those relationships pretty well.
I would add on to that and say that when people are here, it feels like a more intentional visitation there. I think we spend more time. Like if you just add up the minutes, for instance, your parents just came for 6 nights and stayed with us the entire time. And if you add up the minutes that we were together and the quality time that we spent together with them over the last 6.5 days, I think that's more than the last full 12 months that we spent with them while we were still living in the same location.
Yeah.
So it's more quality time, even though we see them physically less times throughout the year.
Yeah.
Another one that we get asked a lot is how we are adjusting to the weather, and
we love it.
We do. We both hate the cold. Not that I want to sweat profusely all the time, but I would much rather be hot than cold. So this is the right spot for us. And as summer creeps in, and as we get up into the 90s more and more, coming into June and then into July, we spend a lot of time outside. We work a lot out on our back porch. If we're not in this office, we're out on the back porch making phone calls, working, and that is kind of nice because we start in the morning and then throughout the day we're out there. And so as the temperature increases, I feel like we're acclimating more.
Yeah, and really we're in the shade whenever we're out there, and we're just pretty intentional about, even whenever we go to a theme park or we're doing some activity that we're outside for a long period of time, we just try to temper our outside time with getting some air conditioning, or making sure that we're prepared with water and all of that.
Let's talk about what our favorite things to do now are. So these are some of the things that we didn't necessarily see sneaking up on us, but just living here 5 months.
So many things, right? So, we spend a lot of time at Disney Springs, which I kind of expected that we probably would. We spend more time at Universal theme parks than I expected, and I think we have probably mentioned that before. And that's just because of the ease of, not having to have park pass reservations.
One of my favorite things to do is we got a Jeep when we moved down, and so we will take the top off and roll the windows down and just drive. And so we live close enough to Disney World that we just drive through Disney property, we drive past the resorts, we drive through like Horizon West and Winter Garden and those types of things. That is kind of nice because you don't even have to have park pass reservations or mess with crowds or anything, and you still kind of get that vibe of being on Disney property. There's something about going through that archway that it's nice.
It's special. We also have just recently discovered Plant Street Market. We really like going there. It's a food hall. It has lots of little booths of different types of food you can get, but then there's also a brewery at one end. So we actually spent one whole day working there, and it was so fun just, grabbing a beer and setting up. They have all these really nicely shaded picnic tables outside. We just set up our laptops and worked all day long. It was wonderful. We also have gotten into a great routine of going to a local gym pretty frequently, and Aiden has shown interest in joining us, and so a lot of times whenever he can, and I expect more as we enter into summer, he will come more often. So we'll all go to the gym together, which is really cool. And then Dan and I do our normal run walks, which we were doing back in Oklahoma, but I'm actually running a little bit more because I'm prepping for the 10K for Disney's marathon weekend.
Another thing that we found was the farmers market in Windermere. So Windermere proper is this tiny little town, brick-lined streets. It's so cute. And every Friday morning they do a farmers market. We went, and I think we will definitely be back. We bought some homemade salsa and had some homemade hummus, and they've got all kinds of vendors out there. It was lovely.
And they have some great produce. We did not, whenever we went, we were not prepared because we didn't know what all they sold. And so we couldn't buy any of the produce, but because we were prepped for the weekend, but totally buying some of that yummy looking stuff next time.
And I think one of our favorite pastimes is a continuance here. It's just changed a little bit. So we always love to continually plan future vacations. Kind of why we're travel agents. We like to plan vacations. And so it's changed a little bit because we're still planning future vacations, family vacations mainly, but we're planning them to other destinations. We don't need to plan them to Disney New World because we are here and we're able to experience that anytime we want to. So we're planning destinations. So stick around. Hang out on this channel, and you'll probably see some of those destinations coming up next year. I'm super excited for some of them.
Oh yes, next year is going to be amazing. We also get asked, would we do it again?
This, coupled with the question, are there any regrets? These are probably the two biggest questions that we've been asked, or maybe that people dance around. Like, it's hard to ask somebody, well, do you have any regrets? But it's fine. You can ask us if we have any regrets. I will say, the biggest regret I have is maybe not doing it sooner. I am a planner. I wanted to make sure like finances were set in stone. We had a place to come, all of that, but I think we totally could have done it a lot sooner.
I was pushing for sooner, but
I know. I have zero regrets about the actual moving down here. And the biggest piece of advice I can give to all of you, if you are considering moving here or wherever you're considering uprooting your family, make sure that you have your family's best interest at heart. And I think if that is in the right spot, then absolutely go for it. We also get asked if we would do it again in this climate, like in this economy.
yes.
Yeah, because it was the right move for us. And even if it cost a little bit more than it did, or even if we had to save a little bit longer to be able to do it, we would absolutely do it again.
It's been 5 months, and I think at least 2 to 3 times a week, we have the conversation of, are we really here? Like, this is our dream come true. This is exactly where we wanted to be, and it's still where we want to be. If you're liking what you see here, please like and subscribe so that you don't miss the next video, and come join us over at our podcast where you'll hear even more wonderful Disney Universal travel, moving, everything that you can imagine things. We publish that twice weekly on Sundays and Wednesdays, and it's called Addicted to the Mouse.
We will see you on the next video.